Montessori gives kids too much freedom. It's too strict. It has too many rules. Wait, those are opposites. Here's why everyone is confused. Because Montessori isn't a parenting style. So then what is it? I spent 2 years calling myself a Montessori parent and I still had no idea. I had the wooden toys, I had the perfect shelf rotation, I had the Instagram aesthetic, but I didn't actually understand what I was doing or why. And if you're here right now thinking, wait, am I doing Montessori wrong? Am I an authoritarian parent? Am I too gentle? Where do I even fit? I get it, because that was me. What nobody tells you is that Montessori is an educational philosophy, but it aligns perfectly with one research-based parenting style. And once you know which one, then all of that confusion will disappear. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 parenting styles, not with boring definitions, but with real scenarios so you can actually see the difference. Then I'll break down what Montessori actually is, the real version, not the Instagram version. And I'll finally tell you which parenting style Montessori aligns best with. Because once you understand this, you can stop trying to be perfect and start making choices that actually work for your family. And there's one parenting style that is basically Montessori's twin. Stick with me and I'll tell you which one in just a few minutes. So let me tell you about when I first realized I had no idea what I was doing. My son is 6 months old. I'm sitting on the living room floor rearranging his toy shelf for the 3rd time this week. Rainbow stacker on the left, teething rings in the middle, contrast cards on the right. I step back, I take a photo and I post it to Instagram. And I genuinely think this is Montessori. Like if I just get the shelf right, my son will be more independent, he'll develop faster, he'll love learning. But here's what I'm not doing. Watching my child. He's on his mat trying to roll over. His arm keeps getting stuck. And instead of letting him work through it, I keep interrupting him to show him a new toy I just bought. I thought I was being a good Montessori mom, but I was really just performing for Instagram. So then I start reading everything. The Conscious Parent, Gentle Parenting books, Attachment Parenting. I'm stacking them up on my nightstand, lying in bed at night thinking, am I a gentle parent? A conscious parent? Where does Montessori even fit in all of this? I need to know which box I fit into because if I can just figure out the label, then I can do it right. But the more I read, the more confused I get. Because when I was pregnant, I asked everyone, what is Montessori? And one mom said it gives kids way too much freedom. They just do whatever they want. Another mom said, it's so rigid, there are so many rules. And I'm standing in that toy store 8 months pregnant, holding that wooden rainbow stacker thinking, hang on, those are opposites. How can both of them be true? It took me years and a Montessori diploma to figure out why everyone was so confused, and it all comes down to one thing that nobody talks about. So I'm at this parenting talk and the speaker puts up a slide with 4 quadrants. There's warmth on one axis and control on the other. And she says parenting styles aren't about what you do with your kids, the activities, the toys, the methods. They're about how you relate to your child. 2 things, how much warmth you show and how much control you exert. And I realize I've actually been confusing parenting styles with parenting philosophies. Montessori, gentle parenting, attachment parenting, those are methods. They're about what you do. And I realize I've been confusing parenting styles with educational philosophies. Montessori, Waldorf, those are educational philosophies. They're about what you do. But parenting styles are about the relationship itself, the dynamic between you and your child. So let me break down the 4 research-based parenting styles, and I'm not about to give you boring definitions. I'm going to show you what each one actually looks like in real life. First one, authoritarian parenting. Picture this. It's 6:30 on a Wednesday. 7-year-old Emma is at the kitchen table with her math homework. She's been stuck on the same problem for 10 minutes. Her dad walks in, glances at the paper, and sees that she's got it wrong. He doesn't ask what she's struggling with. He doesn't sit down. He just says, "That's wrong. Do it again." Emma's eyes fill with tears. She erases it, she tries again, and she gets it wrong again. "I don't understand," she says quietly. "You need to focus harder," her dad says. "No TV until you get it right." And then he walks out. And Emma's alone at the table. She's not crying anymore. She's just staring at the paper frozen because she doesn't know how to get it right. But she knows that if she asks for help again, she'll just get in trouble. Emma realizes in that moment that her feelings don't matter. What matters more is obedience. And over time, that becomes her inner voice. Don't ask questions. Don't mess up. Just do what you're told. This is authoritarian parenting. It's high control and low warmth. The motto is, "Because I said so." These kids often follow rules really well, but research shows that they struggle with anxiety, low self-esteem, and even making decisions on their own because they were never taught how to think, only what to think. Next one, permissive parenting. Here's what that looks like. It's a Saturday morning at the grocery store. 4-year-old Liam is pushing the cart, or trying to. He's ramming it into displays, knocking over cereal boxes. His mom is trailing behind saying, "Liam, sweetie, be careful." But she's not actually stopping him. They get to the checkout. Liam sees the candy, grabs 3 chocolate bars and tosses them in the cart. "Liam, honey, we're not buying candy today," his mom says. Liam looks at her and he starts screaming and has a full meltdown, like on the floor, kicking, crying. His mom looks around. Everyone is staring. So she crouches down and says, okay, you can have one, just one. Liam stops crying immediately and he picks up the biggest chocolate bar. Then they go home. And Liam learns, if I scream loud enough, I can get what I want. By the time Liam's 10, he's the kid who argues about everything. Bedtime is a negotiation, homework is optional, and his mom is exhausted because she loves him so much, but she has no idea how to set a boundary without feeling like the bad guy. This is permissive parenting. Low control, high warmth. These parents are loving and affectionate, but they avoid saying no. They prioritize their child's happiness over structure. Kids raised this way feel loved, but without boundaries, they struggle with impulse control, entitlement, handling disappointment, because they never learned that no is a complete sentence. The next one is harder to tell, but it's important. It's Tuesday afternoon. 12-year-old Maya is sitting on her bed staring at her phone. She got a 98% on her science test today, the highest grade in class. She's been waiting all afternoon to tell someone. Her mom gets home from work at 6:30. Maya hears the door open and she walks downstairs. "Mom, guess what? I got a 98 on my..." Her mom barely looks up. She's scrolling through her phone, kicking off her shoes. "That's great, honey. Did you eat?" Maya nods. She waits, hoping that her mom will ask to see the test, hoping she'll say something more. But her mom just walks to the couch, sits down, and turns on the TV. Maya walks back upstairs, her test paper still in her backpack, and she thinks, it doesn't matter what I do, no one cares anyway. Over time, Maya stops trying. She stops bringing home good grades. She stopped talking about her day because she's learned that no matter what she does, she's invisible. This is neglectful parenting. Low control, low warmth. These parents are emotionally or physically absent. Kids may have their basic needs met, food, shelter, but they lack guidance, attention, any kind of emotional support. This is one of the most damaging parenting styles. Kids raised this way often struggle with attachment issues, low self-esteem, difficulty trusting others, because without that secure foundation, they don't believe that they're worthy of love. Now, authoritative parenting. Here's the difference. It's Thursday evening. 6-year-old Noah is sitting at the kitchen table with his dad, and they're working on a puzzle together. Noah picks up a piece, tries to fit it into the wrong spot, but it doesn't work. He gets frustrated. This is stupid. He shoves the piece away. His dad doesn't react immediately. He just sits there for a second, and then he says, "I can see you're frustrated. Puzzles are hard sometimes." Noah looks at him. His dad picks up the piece and holds it gently. What if we're trying to look at the colors first? See how this piece has blue on the edge? Where else do we see blue? Noah takes the piece. He looks at the puzzle. He finds the blue section. And when the piece clicks into place, his face lights up. "I did it," he says. His dad smiles. "You figured that out. You didn't give up, even when it was hard." And Noah learns something in that moment. I can do hard things. And when I struggle, someone is here to guide me. Not to do it for me, but to help me figure it out. This is authoritative parenting. High control, high warmth. These parents set clear boundaries, but they also explain them. They listen to their child's perspective. They encourage independence, but within limits. Kids raised this way tend to be confident, emotionally balanced, and responsible. They perform well academically, they build healthy relationships, and they develop strong problem-solving skills because they've been guided, not controlled. And here's the key. This is the style that research consistently shows leads to the best outcomes for children. So if Montessori isn't a parenting style, then what is it? Montessori is an educational philosophy, not a parenting style. Not a set of toys you buy, an educational philosophy developed by Dr. Maria Montessori, the first female Italian doctor in the 1900s. Picture this, it's 1907 in Rome. Maria Montessori has just opened the first Casa dei Bambini, children's house, in a poor neighborhood. She's working with 60 children from ages 3 to 6 from incredibly difficult backgrounds. And she does something radical. Instead of teaching them the way every other school does, with rows of desks, teachers at the front, everyone learning the same thing at the same time, she just observes them. She watches what they gravitate toward, what they're interested in, how they move, and then she designs an entire method of education around what she sees. And what she discovers is quite revolutionary. Children don't need to be forced to learn. They're born wanting to learn. And from that one insight, she built her entire method around a few key principles. Let me break them down. Principle 1, observation. This means watching your child before you intervene. So if your baby is on the floor working on rolling over, you don't interrupt to show them a toy. You just watch. Because when you observe first, your child shows you exactly what they need. Observation isn't passive. It's the most active thing you can do as a parent. Principle 2, freedom within limits. This is the one that confuses everyone. Your child can choose any activity on the shelf, but they need to be shown it first. They can work for as long as they want, but they put it back when they're done. It's not do whatever you want, and it's not follow these rules without question. It's a structure that supports autonomy. Principle 3, respect for the child. Even the youngest child deserves the same respect that you'd give an adult. So instead of scooping up your toddler mid-play to change their diaper, you wait till they look at you and you say, when you're finished with that towel, we need to change your diaper. You're not asking permission, you're acknowledging their work has value. Principle 4, the prepared environment. This is not about having the perfect Instagram shelf. It's about setting up your home so that your child can be independent. Low coat hooks so that they can hang their own coat. Small glass cups so they learn to handle fragile things carefully. A step stool by the sink so they can wash their hands themselves. Everything at their level so they can do things for themselves. Principle 5, hands-on sensorial learning. Montessori materials make abstract concepts concrete. A 5-year-old doesn't learn subtraction on a piece of paper. She uses golden beads. She holds 10 beads in her hand and then she physically removes 3. She doesn't just memorize 10 minus 3 equals 7. She experiences it. So here's what Montessori actually is. It's an educational philosophy that says children are naturally eager to learn. That if you observe them, respect them, give them the freedom within limits, prepare an environment that supports independence, and let them learn with their hands, they will flourish. But here's the really important part. Montessori was designed for schools. It's an educational method. And yes, you can apply Montessori principles at home, but your home is still a home. And this was something I had to learn the hard way because I was putting so much pressure on myself to do Montessori perfectly at home. And that's just not realistic. Your toddler is going to watch TV sometimes. You are going to use a sticker chart if it helps. You are going to have days when the toys are scattered and the shelf isn't rotated. And that's completely okay because Montessori at home isn't about being perfect. It's about respecting your child, observing their needs, and giving them opportunities to be independent. That's it. Okay, so now that you understand parenting styles and what Montessori actually is, here's the thing I need you to understand. These are two completely different categories. Parenting styles are about your relationship with your child, how much warmth you show, how much control you exert. That's authoritarian, permissive, neglectful, or authoritative. Educational philosophies are about how you think children learn best. That's Montessori, Reggio Emilia, Waldorf, traditional schooling, homeschooling, whatever approach you choose for their education. They don't automatically go together. You can be an authoritative parent who sends your kid to traditional school. You can be a permissive parent who has Montessori materials at home. You can be an authoritarian parent who follows Waldorf education. These are separate decisions. So just because you buy wooden toys and set up a low shelf doesn't mean you're practicing authoritative parenting. And just because you're warm and set boundaries doesn't mean you're doing Montessori. But while you can combine any parenting style with any educational philosophy, Montessori naturally aligns with one specific parenting style because at their core, they're built on the same values. So which parenting style does Montessori align with? Authoritative parenting. Think about it. Authoritative parents set clear boundaries but explain them, encourage independence within limits, listen to their child's perspective, are firm but loving. Montessori principles: freedom within limits, respect for the child, observation and following the child, prepared environment that encourages independence. They're saying the same thing. One is about the parent-child relationship, the other is about how children learn best. But at their core, they're both about the same thing: guiding, not controlling, boundaries with respect, warmth with structure. So remember when I said people told me Montessori gives kids too much freedom or it's too strict? Here's why. When people say Montessori gives kids too much freedom, they're thinking of permissive parenting. They see a child choosing their own activities and think there are no rules. But that's not Montessori, because Montessori has very clear limits. You can choose any activity on the shelf, but you have to be shown it first. You can work for as long as you want, but you have to put it back when you're done. When people say Montessori is too strict, they're thinking of authoritarian parenting. They see the structure and they think kids have to follow all of these rules. But that's not Montessori either, because in Montessori, children are not obeying blindly. They understand why the rules exist. They've been shown with respect. They've been given choices. Montessori is neither too free nor too strict. It's that sweet spot in the middle, freedom within limits, boundaries with respect, and that aligns perfectly with authoritative parenting. So here's what I want you to take away from this. You don't have to fit perfectly into one box. I'm not a perfect Montessori parent. I've yelled when I should have paused. I've interrupted their concentration. I've bought toys instead of observing. But my kids don't need me to be perfect. They need me to see them, to respect them, and to trust that they're capable. You can mix Montessori with gentle parenting. You can use traditional methods if they work. Because Montessori isn't about the materials, it's about seeing your child as capable. And you can do that right now with whatever resources you have. So to recap, parenting styles are about your relationship with your child, how much warmth you show, how much control you have. And the four main ones are authoritarian, permissive, neglectful, and authoritative. Montessori isn't a parenting style, it's an educational philosophy. But it aligns best with authoritative parenting because they share the same core values: firm but loving, boundaries with respect, freedom within limits. And that's why people are confused. They're mixing up the method with the relationship. Once you get that, you can stop second guessing everything. You just show up and trust your kid. So if you're thinking, okay, but what does this actually look like with a baby? Like day to day, what would you actually do differently? I made a whole video on this. 6 shifts that I wish I had known when my kids were babies. And the biggest one has nothing to do with toys or shelves. It's not even really about the baby. I'll link it right here. All practical stuff you can actually use, and there's no setup required. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.